Examples?
Examples, Kellogg's, Pepsi-Cola, Perrier, Lego, Levi's, Snickers, Sony, American Express.
So does this mean that a consumer or a customer in a shop, for instance, will pay a premium for Kellogg's over another brand because Kellogg's is a super brand?
It trusts Kellogg's. It knows it's going to be delivered quality product which it's going to enjoy, yes.
How do you build a super brand?
Difficult to rapidly answer that, but a few pointers. One is you've got to start with a good quality product or service. You've got to build awareness against your target audience. You must have something which is distinctive, that stands for something different. And very importantly, you've got to deliver against your promises. If American Express say they're available throughout the world, then they're going to be available in 200 countries and have 88,000 people employed to service that promise.
So with an effective advertising campaign, you can become a super brand, but to remain a super brand, you need to deliver.
Exactly.
All right. Now, what is the biggest super brand in your opinion? If you had to rank the top three, say.
I think Coca-Cola, Nike, McDonald's are all very significant indeed.
Now then, the number of Nurofen tablets sold in the UK each year would stretch, if you laid them all out, from London to New York. World production of Dulux paint could give our planet a fresh makeover 1,000 times, and 10 million miles of Andrex toilet tissue is used in the UK every year. The accomplishments of some brands is truly awesome. But how have they managed to maintain prominence on the shelves and retain such consistent loyalty? Well, here are some household names.
Whether it be the 3 stripes of Adidas or the Nike tick, Shell's shell, Adidas's blue box, all of them mean something significant to us because they've invested in strong packaging, strong communications, great advertising.
Yeah.
The likes of the Andrex puppy, the Dulux dog, all carry a very, very strong symbol and significance.
Let me just run past you a few names. The McDonald's arches, what about that?
We know wherever we're driving, when we see that McDonald's arch on the horizon, that we're going to get good quality food, we're going to get it quickly, and it's going to be fresh and clean.
Yeah.
All from an M that a number of years ago would have meant nothing to us whatsoever.
Yeah. What about Coca-Cola? There's a company that is literally in every country and territory in the world.
It is. Wherever there's a thirst, there's a Coca-Cola.
Yeah. But why? Why is it so successful?
Well, one, it is a great taste. But two, it's all about happiness. It's all about refreshment. It's something that we want to buy into, what we want to be associated with.
Yeah. Just a word about Marks and Spencer's. They're in the news today. People want them to survive and succeed.
Yeah, they've had a tough time, but because they're such a strong brand, there's a real warmth towards them. In research that we do, whether it be through Mintel or NFO, it always shows that people really trust Marks and Spencer. And they want it to do well. There's a will there.
And we forget, don't we, that they are making millions of pounds every year.
They certainly are still doing okay.
All right, Marcel. Well, thank you very much indeed. I very much enjoyed reading the book. Thanks very much indeed.
Pleasure.
Thank you. That's Marcel Noble. Superbrands is the book. It's an industry Bible, but it make a great coffee table book.
And now on BBC Two, today's Working Lunch.
Coca-Cola won the title of Superbrand last night, and Virgin knocked British Airways off the perch in the holidays and travel category. Marcel Noble from the Superbrands Council is here. When it's a brand, Marcel, when does it become a super brand? When you say so.
Well, no, not just me. There's a Superbrands Council which is made up of eminent personalities within the industry.
So what characteristics does a super brand have? Well, it's very well known.
A super brand offers customers significant emotional and or physical benefits over its competitors, which consciously or subconsciously consumers want, recognise and are willing to pay a premium for. The Andrex puppy for over 25 years has come to represent softness and strength in such a strong fashion. Budweiser's about authenticity and dynamism. So for years, Budweiser have known how to communicate that. They were actually the first company to deliver Budweiser to the White House when Prohibition was revoked.
Right,
very clever.
And all these brands, I mean, they stood the test of time, haven't they, the main ones?
They certainly
all these
have.
ones here behind it.
Yeah, Heinz is over 100 years old. PG Tips, also extremely old. And those chimps have been around since commercial TV was introduced.
Right. Okay, if any of these brands, BMW was sending me some free samples, I'm more than happy to accept them. Never mind the morality of it, Marcel.
Harry Potter has been helping sell chocolate now, clothes, etc., etc. And just like the name Pepsi sells cola, Coke sells cola, Lucasade sells an energy drink, people want to be associated with that. It has such positive connotations that people definitely are attracted by it and will reach out to take that off the shelf as opposed to something else.
A glittering party in London with the beautiful people of the advertising world out in force. Here, not to do lunch, but dinner, coupled with the now ubiquitous award ceremony. The occasion, the Superbrands event, perhaps designed to celebrate the ad man's very existence, but primarily a recognition of the power of the globally branded product, the Michelin, Dulux and Andrexes of this world.
Marcel, I just want to ask you about branding that we've seen recently, branding that really seems apart from a company's main business. BP, for instance, went for a flower logo. Anderson Consulting changed its name to Accenture, which had nothing to do with consulting. What do you make of that movement in terms of naming?
It's a bold move. Anderson Consulting were forced into it. They wouldn't have done it out of choice, and they've had to invest a tremendous amount to actually protect that reputation because they don't own that name anymore. BP have again made a brave move. I can understand that they wanted to build credibility in the environmental area, but as Perrier have done in the past very well, and Coca-Cola, when they've recognised that they've found themselves in a problem, they've just dealt with it in an honest fashion.
When you're a brand of the scale of McDonald's, those golden arches known all over the world, how much do you have to worry about instances like this? Are they just blips that pass with time?
No, McDonald's will be very concerned about this. They're a responsible organisation. Their brand is in 119 countries. They're serving 43 million people a day, and they want to protect their reputation.
There is a flight to quality to established names, names that are historical, names such as Scottish Widows, Abbey National, Legal & General, names that have been around for many years and which you know will go around for many years to come.
In the fast-changing business world, with its unavoidably global perspective, the brand name is an important asset, which companies ignore at their peril.
What we're finding is the world is becoming smaller and smaller. Boundaries are literally disintegrating between regions, and that's due to travel and the internet and so forth. And therefore, it's no use having different names for brands in different places. People want to be familiar with a single brand. I think they're recognising a trend which HSBC have followed, Snickers have followed, Olympus have followed. Think global, act local, be relevant to the target audience that you want to motivate. Whether it be Virgin, Orange, Microsoft, Yellow Pages, you know what they stand for. And if the political parties were much better at actually defining clearly what they stand for and not confusing us, the voter, they would stand a much better chance of actually getting the vote.
The tie-up gives JJB Sports a slice of the discount action, while keeping both brands separate.
TJ Hughes brand could actually confuse the JJB brand if it weren't kept independent. LucasAid Sport, yeah, very, again, dynamic packaging, very sports-oriented. And they've managed through their advertising as well to get across those energy signals by associating them with energy-driven individuals, whether it be the decathlete Daley Thompson or Alan Shearer taking time off from promoting McDonald's to promoting this, as well as, even more recently, the energy-driven Lara Croft, who took time off from promoting the Sega Vibrant brand. And that is very much about irreverence and attitude and being consumed by sport. And that is something that any individual who comes across Nike will actually be cognizant of. And Justin Rose is enjoying a relationship with Adidas now, and that was probably down to a past performance. He's doing okay now, and Adidas will be enjoying that, and they've also got the association with Garcia, which is a tremendous asset as well. And the likes of a Lexus, for example, the car, has again enjoyed phenomenal benefits through their association with Montgomery, as you mentioned. For 3 years, they've managed to attract new customers just because of that relationship. Well, I think he lends tremendous positive associations to the Nike brand. You associate it with winning, you associate it with a very positive attitude, and that's why we might go to a Shell forecourt as opposed to another, because they're associated with Ferrari. Sega enjoy Lara Croft. L'Oreal enjoy the likes of the top models, and again, we like to be associated with that beauty.
We're here to witness the launch of the new Superbrands book. This book features names that we'll all recognise, from banks, from car manufacturers, from building societies, and yes, just the one football club. It's Manchester United. On display here are all sorts of products, most showing the latest technologies. How about this for an executive model? Long, sleek and sexy. Or how about this little sporty number? Just right for doing the shopping, if you're Pierce Brosnan. But there's not just car manufacturers. How about the latest in mobile phone technology?
Brand experts like Marcel Nobel have seen this sort of linkage before. All companies with strong brands are trying to exploit them to the full.
Companies are taking looks consistently at what other markets they can extend into, especially when they're preeminent in their own market. I think American Express have fiercely protected the use of American in their brand name, and quite comfortably so. America is known to be all about service and great product, and American Express have very much benefited from that. For example, Richard Branson did brilliantly in putting flags on the planes. Maybe that will be the best thing with him.
Marcel, thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning. We have to leave it there.
We went down to the Business Design Centre in Islington, where all 65 Superbrands were being shown off to the press. Jeff Scott, head of brand marketing, was there to explain the importance of the event.
I'm joined now by Marcel Nobel, who's chairperson of the Superbrands Council, which exists to help those who believe that brand names, I guess including regional ones, should be protected.
Stations like BBC World, you know, report it all around the globe, don't they?
Precisely, you're to blame.
Yeah.
But a company and a brand which has the strength that Coca-Cola has, and the brand guardians that Coca-Cola has, will, I'm sure, actually get over this crisis, and it will be forgotten about. A weaker brand would never recover.
But what makes a brand like Coca-Cola or Levi's so successful? How do brands go from being just popular to achieving global domination of their markets? For many experts, it seems, the key to becoming a super brand lies in appealing to human emotions.
A brand is more than physical attributes. It's emotional attributes. It's how we perceive something. It's in the mind.
You've got to give it an emotional content. You've got to give it character. And if you look at the strongest and most powerful brands, they've all got very, very distinct characters.
And when people were asked who would they most like to have to their wedding as a guest, the Andrex puppy came top.
So it seems that if there's one lesson to be learnt from today's super brands, it's make sure your product has emotional appeal.
And in order to be a successful brand, you have to be visionary. Take a brand like Lucozade. They really made a masterful move from moving from a drink that was just seen as being something which was medicinal and looked after someone when one was ill, to actually moving it to something that was linked with energy. The likes of DHL and Thomas Cook have used it very well indeed. You can track where your package is going through DHL's site. You can buy foreign exchange through the Thomas Cook site.
If you eat Kellogg's cornflakes, drink Perrier and walk your Andrex puppy to the park, then you'll know all about this week's marketing segment. It's about brand names. The world's greatest brands are gathered in London this week to be awarded the title of Super Brand. Sounds impressive, but what exactly is a super brand and how do you become one? We're here to impart some of the secrets of the trade. Marcel Nobel, chairperson at the Superbrands Council, and Venko Marshall Foster, chairperson and chief executive officer at Perrier Retail UK.
What great brand guardians will try and do, whether it be St. Michael, BMW, PG Tips and so forth, is build upon their heritage whilst recognising how their market is evolving. But over time, if you look at some of the great brands, like British Telecom, you'll see that they've gradually evolved. ICI also. People have actually been turning to brands which they trust, whether it be the Kellogg's, the Hovis. They know they're getting value for money.
Now on BBC Two, Adrian Childs with Working Lunch.
If you're the kind of person who's got to have Heinz beans or HP sauce and wouldn't dream of eating own brand cornflakes, then you'll be a big fan of Superbrands. Last night, the most effective and successful brand of the year was chosen, and Katie Derham was lucky enough to be there.
Tony Blair, the Andrex puppy, and Yellow Pages. The link, they're Superbrands, and they're here to celebrate.
For every pound you spend in the shops, every business has got to decide how much of that money to plough back into PR and advertising and marketing to make sure we buy that product again. Here at the Superbrands event and awards, the movers and shakers of those industries are congratulating each other on the successes, the Kellogg's, the Sonys, the Cokes of this world.
Even the experts agree that you can't create a super brand unless you've got a super product. But get the combination right, and your successful brand has endless possibilities.
The way we keep the brand fresh and relevant is that we try to target our products to the different user groups.
Who was the winning Superbrand of the year?
The winner is the real thing, Coca-Cola.
There are a number of brands that it's associated with. Some are sort of real huge super brands such as Pepsi, Adidas, and there are some lesser known brands such as the Police sunglasses and Brill Cream. Now all these brands will of course suffer if he doesn't play, but I don't think it will actually be a disaster for them because they're not only reliant on him as a sportsman, they're actually reliant on him as a personality.
What did you think of the name change of the Royal Mail and what have you to Consignia?
I think it was done for good reason. One, they were changing to a PLC. They were going to have to make certain changes anyway. Two, Post Office wasn't going to work so well internationally. It's a generic. And three, they wanted to distinguish between the holding company and the post office outlets you actually visit. I think it's a sound name. But this is the essence of the issue. These precious brands, such as the Post Office, Royal Mail and Parcel Force, are not going to be lost or sacrificed. A new brand, Consignia, has been introduced, and for a good reason. Microsoft are known to be dynamic, are known to be different. Their whole ethos for this Xbox is to inspire and feed the imagination, and they will capture the imagination of the market, and therefore I am confident will succeed.
Well, they certainly seem to be running riot in London. Marcel Noble, thanks very much.